Why we are ready to go. Welcome back to another episode of the Man of Steel podcast. Episode 20, y'all. You're my 20th person on the podcast. Mr. Blue feels special. You should be honored. You're honored.
Cool, cool, cool.
All
Glad to
right,
be
y'all. So
here.
those guys, well, thank you. No, thank you for being here on this good Sunday afternoon. So for those of you guys who don't know, Mr. Blue is the executive director of the Office of Belonging, Access and Engagement, and the interim dean of students. So did I get all your titles correct?
Yeah,
All right. I missed now. I know you got a promotion, right?
yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. With the interim dean of students role as a promotion, so I oversee Office of Leadership and Engagement, which oversees all of the student organizations on campus and including student government as well as university board, the pantry, the food pantry on campus, and volunteerism. I oversee the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life as well, the Career Center, Career Services, uh, the Student Legal Services, as well as Office of Belonging, Access and Engagement, and the Gender and Sexual Diversity Center. I think that is all, I think.
Busy man. I respect all the titles, man. Good job on a great year, great semester, y'all. If y'all see Mr. Blue, give him a special shout out. He's a hardworking man and definitely deserves his flowers. You work hard.
Yeah, I try to, try to show up and try to be there for the students, man.
Yeah, that's why we love Mr. Blue. But like I said, man, how's everything going? How was your weekend? How's it been for you so far? Now we're
Oh,
into the officially the last week.
yeah, going into the last week, it's been going pretty good. The academic year has been definitely, it's been a different academic year, let's say that. With a lot of the challenges that we've had to face in terms of can we do programming for diversity, equity, and inclusion or whatnot, and what does that look like? Um, And then also myself finishing up my doctoral degree, and I'm actually graduating this week. So that's like a highlight of my week is going to do the hooding ceremony and the commencement exercise down at the University of Mississippi. Um, and I'm ready for the summer to get here because we got quite a few projects that we have to actually go ahead and start on and complete before we get to fall 2026.
Okay. Like I said, first things first, congratulations. You have mentioned that, congratulations on getting your doctoral degree. That is a high achievement you should definitely be proud of, because I don't know if I told you, but like I said, I do want to get my master's in counseling too in a couple,
Okay.
maybe like 2 years. So
Okay.
I respect that. So yeah, congratulations on graduating. So we're gonna get into some of the projects and challenges that has been going on this semester. But just first things first, for those who don't know about you, just give a little bit of insight. Like who are you? Like where you from? Your
Mhm.
background? Just a little insight. You want to
Okay.
get into details?
Okay, I'm a first generation college student, well, college graduate. So of course that for those who don't know what first generation is, myself, my brother, and my cousins, we're the first in our families to go off to college, and attain degrees. I'm originally from Tampa, Florida. Um, my mother, has been in this country for probably like 52 years. She is from the island of Jamaica. My dad is from Florida. But my dad is a lot older, so my dad, um, my upbringing was a little different because my mom being from another country and my dad growing up, being born and grew up during the Jim Crow era. I
Yes.
grew up with a different perspective and outlook on life. And so I grew up being verbally told American history in its totality from somebody who lived through so many decades of America. And so my upbringing is just a little bit different than my peers, and I appreciate that because just the way that I was raised was just a little bit different. And then having a kind of a growing up with a kind of global mindset with having a mother from a different country and having a mother that likes to travel and see different countries and see different things, and having still that piece in me as well. Um, but I'm a proud HBCU graduate. I'm a graduate of Jackson State University and located in Jackson, Mississippi. I have a bachelor's degree in biology. My master's degree is in leadership from Nova Southeastern University, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and my doctoral degree is from the University of Mississippi in higher education administration. Um, I'm the baby out of all of my siblings, um, so yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first things first, know how what was it like living in Tampa for those who never been in Florida, because I've never been ever. I'm interested in going.
I'm a typical Florida native. I take the beach for granted because we grew up. We can go to the beach every weekend if we
Hmm.
wanted to. But I take it for granted. I'm not really a big fan of the beach, to be honest with you. I'm not Sand is so hard to clean off and it's so hard to get out of your car that it's just like I would literally go to the beach with my friends when they would come to visit or whatever, but I was not really a big beach person, so to speak. Um, I thought my hometown was very diverse before actually moving and seeing more of the United States and seeing more of the world. But growing up in Tampa, Tampa was primarily white, a very white space, a very white city. Probably at the time, maybe 60% white to 70% white. And then I went off to college. I got a chance to see, different states, different cities. And then when I moved to South Florida after graduating from college, I moved to South Florida 5 years post grad, post my bachelor's degree for a job and lived in South Florida. And that was like true diversity. It was like crazy because you have people in South Florida, like the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area from some of everywhere. So you meet different type of Latino people, from different countries, different types of Black people. Um, and so when they say Black is not a monolith, it definitely is not a monolith because you are part of the African diaspora, but you have so many different cultures based on if you are foundational Black American, if you are Jamaican, if you're Haitian, Bahamian,
Mm.
wherever, a lot of people that have not traveled and a lot of people don't know that like I guess it would be the eastern part of Mexico, Central America, and South America. If you go down there, like it's really black.
Oh wow.
It just depended on where the slave trade ships dropped people off.
All
Outside
right
of
about that.
outside of Africa, Brazil has the most black people on Earth.
Hmm.
And so like when I moved back home after undergrad, I met a guy that was from Nicaragua, but I thought he was from the islands because a lot of them have that the black people that are in that on that east coast of Mexico, Central America, South America, they have a big fusion of African Caribbean culture mixed in with culture from that particular land where they are, currently. um, and it's just like sometimes you just like talking to somebody from one of the islands, like from Jamaica or something like that. It's very unique. But again, being in South Florida, that showed me true diversity, in South Florida. And, but Florida is cool. I mean, I tell people all the time, Florida is it's a diverse state, but it is also still like the United States, it's very segregated as well. You have
Mm.
a lot of your bigger cities are going to be way more diverse, but majority of Florida is technically still rural. And I always tell people like a lot of times, like, okay, yeah, North Florida, Central Florida, that's just like being in South Alabama or South Georgia.
Mm.
You have a lot of small towns and people with small minds that have not been much of anywhere. And
Uh-huh.
have the same, sometimes have that same outlook on life. Um, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I mean, living in Florida was great. I still think like I took a lot of it for granted until I moved to like areas that was landlocked, like not having fresh seafood and
Oh,
things of that. You don't think about that stuff when you live and you're from Florida, not having
mm-mm.
fresh seafood until you live somewhere like when I lived in Tennessee and you don't have fresh seafood coming off a boat in Tennessee. So yeah, but living in Florida was cool. It's always gonna be home. A lot of people are always they're like, well, I hear you call, when you say, oh, I'm going back home. And I'm like, yeah, Florida is always gonna be home. I own a home in Florida. Florida
I
will
know.
always be home. I am a visitor everywhere else that I've lived. Illinois, I pray that I do not retire here. Um, Y'all could have the Midwest, the Midwest weather. I mean,
Uh,
it's May, what is it, May 2nd right now, May 3rd,
yeah,
and
make better.
it's still cool. You got to wear a jacket, got to pull out a sweater, and I'm thinking to myself like, why have we not packed this up real quick? What's going on?
That's Illinois. That's the Midwest for you, Mr. Blue. Welcome to the Midwest. That's
Yeah.
Midwest. We got all 4 seasons now, but I'm with you. I'm not trying to stay out here for the rest of my life. I'm trying to move to the West Coast, Arizona. That's my goal. So it was gonna be Texas, but I just feel like I'm more Arizona. So we're gonna see how that goes. That's what everyone
Okay.
says. You get the Arizona vibe in Texas. But now, okay. And like you said, your mother's Jamaican, which is also a fact I did not know. So yeah, like, have you visited Jamaica? My bad, Jamaica, and see, you got family out there. Like, what's that dynamic like?
Yeah, well, so we still have family there. I was there 2 years ago. I went
Hmm.
to a cousin's wedding. She lives in the States. Her husband stays in the States, but they had decided to have their wedding out in Jamaica. So I was out there 2 years ago. So we still have a lot of family out in Jamaica, but I have from my Jamaican side of the family, I have family everywhere. So I have family like in the US, like and Canada, the
Oh,
UK.
Canada. Oh, dang.
Yeah.
UK.
Yeah. So I have aunt that stays in Manchester,
Mm.
England. And so my
Wow.
aunt that's there, she is like 94, 95, because she's older, way older than my mom, because she was an adult when my mom was born. Um, and I have an uncle there. And so I have like we have a lot of family, actually, probably four generations of my mom's family is currently in the UK that I don't even know. So, because I haven't been to the UK ever. My goal is to get my mom over there so she can see her sister before she passes away or whatnot. But and her brother that's over there or whatnot. But yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm on the same, but I always wanted to visit UK, like just see what it's like, just
hmm
the culture, diverse, like just see what it's like. So yeah, that's it. I'm learning some new facts about you, Mr. Blue. So that's good. But and then speaking of parents, so like got two great, lovely parents. I know you wouldn't trade them for the world as well. Tell me more about your no, yeah, about your family. Like, yeah, your mom and dad, where they work, like how they like, especially you growing up, and talk about your siblings too.
hmm So my dad was a truck driver for over 45 years.
Yeah.
So he and all of my uncles took after my grandfather
Mhm.
because my grandfather and his brothers all were 18-wheel truck drivers. And so my dad and all of his brothers were 18-wheel truck drivers like their father. Of course, I did not choose that route because that was not the thing for me. Plus, my dad is one that has always encouraged his kids to get as much education as as we could. His words were always, get as much education as you can because that's something that no one can take away from you is your education. So he always stressed education. He knew that, education was the way out in terms of being, leading to being financially free, leading to not be pigeonholed into one career field forever, so on and so forth. My mom was a CNA, certified nurse's aide, for over 35 years,
Wow.
before she retired. And she's also encouraged us to go after education. Um, but my dad was like really, really, and I guess for me, I think it was more of an intense um message from my dad because of the era that he grew up in. So when my dad was growing up, there was white water fountains and colored water fountains and sitting in the back of the bus and all of the things, right? So my dad really, really focused on education as far as his kids were concerned and wanted us to kind of go as far as we could with education. So, my siblings, my dad was married, was married, before he met my mom. So he married, had three kids, divorced that wife, was single for some years, then met my mom.
Mhm.
And they got married, had me, and they created a blended family because my mom has a son, my brother from her previous relationship, and so I have in total four siblings, two brothers and two sisters. Um,
Okay.
I'm the baby. Um, yeah, I'm the baby out of all the kids, and then um, also I'm the one that actually went the farthest with education.
Congratulations for real. That's like I said, every time you talk, like I hear about your stories. It actually inspires me because you know, you a man of honor. Like you value hard work and you want people to like be the best version of themselves and not really, what's what I'm looking for. Not really fall short of their potential. So
Yeah,
that's respect,
yeah,
respect.
definitely.
So. All right, so like okay, now that we got a little bit more about you, so like now let's talk about school and so like where did you like go to college at? I think you told me like yeah, tell me
Yeah,
more about your
Jackson State.
college
Well,
life.
technically, well, when I first started college, I have for my bachelor's degree, I literally have like a little, I guess you could say detour. So I was supposed to start college that fall, did not go off because my financial aid application was not complete at that particular school at Southern University in Baton Rouge. That's where I was actually going in the fall. So I ended up having to stay home in Florida that fall semester, and my mom made me enroll at the community college for a semester, which I hated. Um, and then after that one semester, I transferred to Southern University and I went to Southern University. I was there for like 2 years. The best social time of my life. It was phenomenal. But I went from Dean's List to academic warning while I was there. And my mom had told me, she was like, I got your grades. And so back then, they don't do it now, but back then they would mail your grade report home. And so I had thought I was being slick by changing my address with the registrar, but they ended up sending my report card or my grades, my final grades for that semester home to my mom. And my mom
Mm,
was like, I got your grades. And so they horrible. So you're gonna have to get it together. So I remember her telling me, you're gonna have to get it, you're gonna have to shape up or we gonna be shipping you out. And I will pull up to that school with a U-Haul and you will be coming back home. And
mhm.
so once she said that, I was like, there is no way I am going back to Florida. And so I made a decision to transfer and I applied to two schools. I applied to Alcorn State University in Lorman, Mississippi, and I applied to Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. Was accepted to both. Um, and the only reason why I didn't choose Alcorn was because it was in a rural town
No.
in Lorman,
Mhm.
Mississippi, where
Oh
pretty much
Lord.
is nothing there but the actual school and maybe a neighborhood or something like that. And I didn't have a car. So I was like,
Yeah.
there is no way I am transferring to Alcorn State with no car.
No
And so
car,
one of
no
my child,
McDonald's, nothing.
huh?
I'll say yeah, no McDonald's or nothing, and no restaurants, nothing.
Yeah, not really. You had to have a car to get to like a restaurant and all that stuff. And so my childhood friend, she had ended up at Jackson State from Florida, from Tampa. And so I decided to transfer to Jackson State. And one of my brother's best friends actually graduated from Jackson State as well. And so I
Mm.
transferred to Jackson State. Um, and the rest is history. And now I tell people all the time, and that's why I like sympathize with students and stuff, and I know what students are going through because I went to a community college for one semester, ended up going from academic warning to, going from dean's list to academic warning at another school, then transferring institutions. And then while I was at Jackson State, I sat out of school twice. I sat out once for 6 months, and then I sat out once for a whole calendar year. Um, and so I had finally gotten back to school and persevered and finally got the degree completed. And I have bachelor's degree in biology. But it was definitely a time. I had a time to get that degree, and I appreciate everything that I went through to get the degree because it taught me so many different lessons in life that I actually utilize professionally when I'm talking to counseling with students and things of that nature. Because a lot of people think that they have, they look at the finished product and they'll see somebody that's a professional that has a terminal degree, that now is interim dean of students, and they're like, oh, he probably just went through his whole process of going to college, and it was a smooth ride, and it was far from that. Um, and so, but I tell people all the time from my generation, the latchkey kids, we were raised on the water hose water and neglect. I mean, we learned how to like we were the kids that were getting off the bus in the second and third grade and opening the door. Nobody's home because your parents are not home from work yet. And you going in and your mom tell you, okay, you go in the house. You don't be opening the door for strangers. You go in the house, you lock the door, yada, yada, yada. I mean, we learned, and I feel like, and we were the kids that played outside. We had video games, but video games compared to playing outside, we much more preferred to go outside and play with our friends. This now is totally different. A lot of these kids want to stay inside and play the video and play games all day. But going outside and playing, I think that really, right, like really taught us critical thinking skills, how to overcome obstacles, especially during the summers when you knew your parents are going to work. 9 times out of 10, we were in a summer program at the park. And it was a thing of, okay, when it's time for you to go to the park, to lock the door, and you're not getting back in the house until your parents get home. So
Mhm.
you got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? You go into the park, you got to figure some things out. And so it definitely taught us life skills, critical thinking skills. Um, yeah. So it's just definitely different. So college was my whole upbringing was just it was a time to be alive at that point. I would not want to grow up in any other era than the era that I grew up in.
And then and what year did you graduate? If you don't mind me asking, this is hypothetically speaking.
Graduate high school or college?
Say, how about both high school and college?
High school,
Oh, undergrad.
I graduated in 95. College,
Mm.
I finished in 2004. Yeah, finally finished in 2004 after sitting out and transferring and all of the things. So, as you can see, it took me a while to finish that bachelor's degree.
Yeah, cause I was on the same boat too. Cause I was always taught, like, okay, finish in 4 years, but no, it took me 5 years. Took me 5 years. I'm getting my bachelor's soon. So
Hmm.
yeah, and I think I don't know who told me about it. Someone said, don't worry about the prize, just worry about the journey, if that makes sense. So yeah, I get that. I get it. It's hard work, but it pays off in the end. So
Oh yeah.
it do
Yeah.
absolutely so. But nah, okay. And so now let's talk about your fraternity that you're
Hmm.
really proud of. Brag
Yes.
about your fraternity, Miss Blue. As you
Yeah.
always say.
So I am a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Hmm.
Currently active with the chapter, the alumni chapter here in Champaign, Zeta Xi
Hmm.
Lambda. And my journey to Alpha is one that was a long journey. So the first black male educator that I ever encountered was my junior high school principal, Dr. Anthony Satchel. Dr.
Hmm.
Anthony Satchel was a principal at Dowdale Junior High School. He was a man of alpha. And I was able to just see how I never got in trouble, so we didn't have a lot of interaction. I was not like a trouble kid or whatever that got in trouble and I always had to go to the principal's office or whatever. But that's why I tell people all the time, people are always watching you, whether or not you know it or not. And you don't know the impact that you can have on a child or a person just in everyday how you kind of navigate through life, right? And
Yep.
I watched Dr. Anthony Satchel during junior high school, and I watched how he navigated, how he led the junior high school, how he spoke, how he just, his demeanor. And I was like, wow, I want to be like that when I grow up. And then went through, left there, went to high school at King High School in Tampa, and I was a part of Trio Project Upward Bound. And so I'm a Trio Project Upward Bound alum, and our director of Upward Bound, Dr. Richard F. Pride, was a man of alpha as well. And just knowing how he navigated um having the grant for so long, because that grant had been at USF for a very long time. And so that Upward Bound produced Angela Bassett. She was a part of that Upward Bound program. I believe, if
Mm.
I'm not mistaken, she was Miss Upward Bound because we always had a pageant every summer, and I believe she was Miss Upward Bound. Um, 'Cause she's from St. Petersburg, Florida.
Mhm.
And so that trio program had been on the University of South Florida's campus for decades when I got there. So it
Oh
had been
wow.
there probably at least 20 going on 30 years when I got to the program itself. And just watching him navigate the program, how he handled business and had a doctoral degree as well. And I was like, yep, I definitely want to be an alpha. And had an opportunity to um seek out the light of alpha in undergrad at Jackson State. But at
Mm.
that time, I was working two jobs and going to school full time. I was a resident assistant, I was waiting tables, and I was going to school full time. And so that was just not the right time for me to join the organization. And so I didn't join until grad chapter in 2020. So
Oh
we were part
wow.
of the last crop to go through the intake process before everything shut down for the pandemic.
Yeah,
And I was glad that we actually got everything done before everything shut down for the pandemic because the pandemic was crazy.
it was
Um,
crazy.
yeah. And so but yeah, and it's been a decision that I have not regretted. I've enjoyed being a part of the organization. Um, Met some great men that are members of the organization that are brothers of mine within the organization. My line brothers, of course. Um, yeah, so it's been a great opportunity and a great experience.
And I was gonna say, how do you like how proud are you about your organization here? With Chris and them being inducted. Like how does that
Mhm.
make you feel? 'Cause I
It's
know
great.
MLK.
It's
I'm sorry about that. 'Cause I know you said you guys had like famous alumni, right? Who are the famous alumni?
well, I mean, the most famous, in my opinion, would be like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Thurgood
Yeah,
Marshall. Those are when I think of like famous, like the pinnacle of the organization, it would be Dr. Martin Luther King and Thurgood Marshall. But we have a lot of impactful alphas out in the world, just making a difference on a day-to-day basis.
yeah. I was gonna say I know you're proud of them. for stepping up to the plate, so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They we got some really solid guys in the Zeta Nu chapter at Eastern Illinois University. I
Mhm.
think they are in very good hands. As
Okay.
far as the chapter is in very good hands going forward. I just need to keep up the momentum and keep bringing in brothers within the fold that meet the standard of being an alpha, that are upstanding citizens, that are going to be working hard, that are setting the bar high academically, professionally.
Yes.
Yeah, and they're going in the right direction. So I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the chapter and what they've been able to accomplish thus far.
Well, I'm proud and I said all my support to you guys. So congratulations. And so now excuse me, let's talk about your journey to EIU. So coming how did you came how did EIU come about to you, like how that path come, let's talk about your journey here
Um,
to
well, I
EIU.
was just looking at jobs at the time because before I came to EIU, I was running a trio program called EOC, the Educational Opportunity Center. Um, and so I was running that program. I was directing that program at St. Petersburg College. But the salary just was not where it needed to be. Um, and so I sought out other employment opportunities. I saw the posting for the job at EIU, and I was like, well, I can definitely do this. I mean, I was a chief diversity officer prior to coming to EIU at another institution in Arkansas. Um, and so I just applied and ended up going through the process and coming out on top and moving to the Midwest, which I never thought I would do because I said I didn't want to move anywhere where it snowed heavily. Um, yeah, and so I ended up moving to Illinois in January of 2024 and
Hmm.
have been at EIU since. Yeah.
I was gonna say, so we're glad you're here. So what led you to becoming executive director of belonging, access, and engagement? How did that come about? Your title.
So I ended up requesting a change of the name of the office because of the attack on DEI
Hmm.
from, the current federal administration. And so I think the job, when I feel like sometimes terms are can be dated. Terms can be dated. Terms can also be utilized and weaponized against various populations. And so I wanted to change the name of the department because what we do is create a sense of belonging with our students and faculty and staff on campus. It is never diversity was never used to exclude people,
Yeah.
contrary to what some people may think. Um, we always want to make sure that all voices are heard. And we also understand that all voices are not necessarily heard, right? And so you need to have programs on campus that cater to various demographics that are open to all individuals. Um, but those programs and services that we're offering are based on the data that has been gathered in the system in terms of graduation rates and looking at housing insecurity, looking at food insecurity, all of the things, right? Looking at
Mm.
retention numbers, looking at recruitment numbers, looking at graduation rates, and all of the things. And so the data tells you how, why, and where the work needs to be done in terms of various demographics on campus.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you can't argue with data.
Mm-mm, you can't. That's what the data's for. Like they show you what's popular and what things gotta, be fixed. So no, I totally understand.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, how do you feel like? this semester. I know it has been some bumps in the road here this entire semester. How you feel DEI, if I said it right, has been like executed here on campus? How you feel like it's been helpful or or needs some more work?
Well, I think what the this current administration put the fear into a lot of universities with the Dear
Mhm.
Colleague letter and stating that they would actually withhold federal dollars from various universities. The Dear Colleague letter was never law. And with it being found to be unconstitutional, and they put in an appeal, you had universities that capitulated to a letter from the federal government that was not constitutional. So in
Yes.
turn, those institutions did away with diversity departments. They did away with staff in those departments, and unfortunately left a lot of their students unsupported at their
Hmm.
institutions based off of a letter that was unconstitutional. The federal government decided to appeal the decision, but after you have like your Columbias and all of these different universities, the whole state of Texas, for all state schools in Texas, they did this. They gave them 30 days, said you have 30 days, everything is shot closed up, and you will not have a job. Um,
Wow.
and so, since they had so many universities capitulate to a letter that was not law, they didn't even seek out the appeal or go after the appeal and just drop the case because the letter did what they intended for it to do. They intended to see weak leadership across the nation at these universities. They capitalized on it, and that weak leadership led to the dismantling of a lot of diversity offices, which supports a lot of
No.
marginalized students on these university campuses. But I will say this, we still supported our students at Eastern in the state of Illinois. It's a technically a blue state, quote unquote. I mean, really, it's only blue because of Chicago. If it
Yeah.
wasn't for Chicago, it would be just another MAGA state.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and But what it brought out in our student population on campus, our students really rose to the occasion and was able to still uh, put on programming that we would have normally put on anyways. But instead of my office actually spearheading and rounding up or wrangling the cat, so to speak, our student groups actually came up and met the challenge and actually still put on events for Latino Heritage Month, LGBTQ plus History Month, Black History Month, Asian and Pacific Islander Month. Still were able to put on that programming for campus because students have a lot of say so. And I don't know if a lot of students really understand that students have power. And our students came and they rose to the occasion and they made things I was so proud of BSU for even starting the Sankofa Awards. That was really good, and I hope
That
like
was great.
they're able to keep that going year after year.
Hmm.
Um and so uh that's kind of where we are as universities, not just Eastern, but just universities as a whole. Um, Now that the appeal has not gone through, in terms of that Dear Colleague letter, institutions can now go back to having programs. And it was a thing, people make it out like diversity, equity, and inclusion programming on campus was stuff or were programs that were exclusive to different demographics. Like if it was something for Black History Month, it's only for Black people. No,
No.
Black History
Mm.
Month is there to celebrate Black culture, but all cultures are able to go to these events to learn about Black culture, where in some
Hmm.
cases you're not learning about those Black culture or various cultures sometimes inside of the classroom.
Mm.
So um, that's why I'm just it baffles me a lot in terms of how we even got here as a country. But hey, we're here. It is what it is.
Hey, like man, like us, we can only like voice our opinions and try to do make the change because I practice. I like learn more about culture. Like I learn about Hispanic culture, Asian culture, any of the African culture. Like I practice some languages. I don't know if you know. You probably know her. Her name's Dr. Polydor, Captain
Yeah,
Polydor.
Catherine Polydor.
Just seen her face. She taught me more about her country. She's from Dominica, and as soon as I say, it was this one word. Let me see if I can pull it up right quick to say hello. Let me
Hmm.
see. Let me pull it up. We pull it up. Where's it at? Oh, Sakafe. Sakafe
Sakafe.
means hello.
Okay.
So she was impressed. I was like, yes, and that's why I feel like in culture and learn more about culture will help us out in the long run and make things more better. But
Hmm.
it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time
You
still,
would
but
think that being in a country like America, we would be okay with
culture.
everybody being represented at the table because we are one of the few countries in the world where
Yeah.
our population is not homogenous. If you go to some other
Yes.
countries, like if you go to Japan, probably 95% of the population is Japanese. If you go to
Yeah.
China, probably 95% of the population is Chinese. If you go to
Yes.
Sweden, probably 95% of the population is
It's like
Swedish.
Sweden.
You know, and the United States is a melting pot with so many different cultures represented.
Hmm.
And so why wouldn't we want everybody represented at the table? The world would be such
Same.
a boring place if everybody was the same and thought the
Exactly.
same?
Yeah. And that's what I say, and like I said, that's the best thing about college because I've met a lot of people I would never even thought of in high school. Like me in high school, I met people from Italy, Germany,
Hmm.
UK, met a lot of friends that are Hispanic, most friends that was like Asian,
Hmm.
So it's pretty cool. And I like have my friends like diverse, you know what I'm saying? I love my African kings and queens. They also have a place in my heart, but it's always good to like, branch out and learn more about the culture, other
Yeah, I
cultures.
mean, you you
Teach
you want
yourself.
to you want to be worldly. You want to have a global view of the world and
Yeah,
see things outside of a neighborhood or a city view or a state view or a regional view, but look at it from a global perspective. That's the beauty of
exactly.
it. That's one of the sad things about the federal government not approving a lot of these student visas because I think our students now are going
I'm
to miss out
saying.
on missing of meeting a lot of these international students that they could learn so much from these different places.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and it did make me sad 'cause I know before everything happened, this school had a pretty decent international appeal. I'm not gonna lie to you. I met a lot of people from around the world. I'm like, this is what I like. I like learn more about cultures, and it feel like I'm in a different world, and it's in a good way. So, hopefully I can get fixed in the near future because I think that's what makes college the best is just the international students.
Hmm.
They also kind of help make college a little bit better too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can agree with that. But so I mean, and I was gonna say, this all this questions gonna be kind of like combined. So like, what's like your role like day to day? What's been the most rewarding part of your job, and what's like a tough decision you have to make like as a leader in your position in your role?
I think day to day is not, every day is not, it's going to be different for me.
Yeah.
So I don't have like when people are like, oh, well, let's get together when your schedule gets back to normal. And I'm like, there's no normal. No day is the same in my role.
Mm-mm.
Even before being the interim dean of students, my day varied from day to day. Now that I'm interim dean of students, the hours seem like they go by so fast because I'm trying to get caught up on so many different things in so many different areas, um, that it just seems like the day just goes by really, really fast, for me. But I do like that because it does make the day go by fast and it doesn't drag on. Um, the next question in there, it was three questions. what
And I was gonna
what
say,
I'm
like, what's
proud of the most,
yeah,
I think, well, to me, I think
rewards?
what brings me the most joy working in higher education is seeing students come in to the institution that are rough around the edges, and
Mm,
within 4 to 5 years, seeing that transformation of that student when they get close to graduation or when they are graduating from the institution. And you're just like, okay, you're gonna be okay. You
oh
good.
yes,
You know, because I tell students all the time, when you enter an institution as a freshman,
yes.
you enter one way, but when you depart, you should be a totally different person. You may still
Mhm.
have the same values, and in some cases, sometimes you may not have the same values because you may have brought some values that you were how you were raised, and then you come to an institution of higher learning, meet individuals from different backgrounds, and then now as an emerging adult, you have formulated your own values that are not the values that you were raised with, right?
Yes,
And seeing that transformation of a student now, and getting them to graduation, and they're like, okay, you know, they are just they have truly changed the way that they think. They're thinking on a global perspective. They are respecting other people's life choices or respecting people's cultures and backgrounds and things of that nature. Um, I think for the next question was what, in reference to hard decisions that I've had to make, I would
yes.
say mm, hard decisions that I've had to make. Um, I think for me, I don't look at the decisions that I have to make as being hard. I think the decisions that I make are decisions that are just. Let's say that are just that are right decisions, making sure that I'm
Yeah,
making the right decisions for the right situation. I feel
absolutely.
like you have to be a person of integrity when you are in leadership roles, um, and be able to make decisions within your role that are just and where you have a clear conscience and you can sleep at night.
I can respect that. I do like
Yes.
that because I know I will be taking leadership roles, and these are the type of questions that may come up for me one day, like decision. I just want to know because I know you have a couple student workers. I know you got a couple people that work under you, so just want to know like the insight. But I like that answer though. And speaking of like workers and organizations, so I know you oversee Strongman and you also oversee Strong Sheep, but is there any other organizations you see oversee as well? Or
So come fall, I'll be the new advisor for BSU. BSU will now fall under the Office of Belonging, Access, and Engagement.
okay,
Lasso is already there, and Luis Paniagua, my program coordinator, actually oversees Lasso. Um, I was approached to be an advisor for, I'm the advisor for NAACP. I was approached to be the advisor for this new Stomp and Shake cheer team
stop
that's
it,
going to
Shay.
start. Yeah. So that's kind of like an East Coast thing. You'd have to look it up on Instagram to see kind of what Stomp and Shake is compared to your traditional cheerleading that you see out and about. It is very Stomp and Shake is very it's black. It's black cheerleading. Let's say that. It is black cheerleading. It's all about rhythm and yeah, it's Stomp and Shake.
That's out now. I'm about to look that up. I'm gonna look that up later on today. I'm gonna see how that is. But no,
Yeah.
that's great. No, okay, okay. No, congratulations on no. I feel like you'll be a great advisor to BSU for real, because BSU has definitely been doing great these last couple of years.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about each organization. You got to like take too long. Going to be like strongman. So obviously, in my opinion, I know strongman had that potential this year to take off, but I know things came up with leadership. Things like didn't fall into fruition. What are you hoping for this? Hoping for strongman later on this year in the fall. Once like, what are you
Well,
hoping? things
For this
good.
academic year, and this is for all the organizations, I need the student
Yeah.
leaders to prioritize their organizations that they decided to run for whatever position within leadership of an organization. I need
Yes.
the student leaders to understand that when you say you're going to do something, you stick by your word and you are a man or a
Yes.
woman of your word. Because at the end of the day, all you have is your word. And if you are a person that has no follow through, you have no business in leadership. This isn't a high school club or organization. And my whole thing is that I look at college and university life as for undergrads, this is the dressing room for the real world. So you need to start practicing the skills, the behaviors that you are going to need post graduation. And so if you are in leadership now and you are a piss poor leader now and you're not able to prioritize your leadership skills or not be able to grow into that leader, and you are not a man or a woman of your word, you need to get it together, because once you actually go out into the real world post graduation and you are within a professional organization, a social organization, or within the workforce, and you are not producing and you are not a person of your word, especially in the job, you will get fired.
Yes.
And within organizations, you will get impeached or you won't be voted in for another term. And so, my hope for all of the organizations is that the
Mhm.
students really like lean into these leadership positions for the betterment of the student body, for the betterment of the organizations, and for their own personal development as well.
Okay. Oh, and I respect that because I feel I've been telling myself this and every other student that is coming back in the fall. Like I feel like this whole semester was like a transitional period. With
Mhm,
things kind of moving around with construction on campus,
mhm.
staff and it's getting like their new positions. And I know it's been a lot this semester, but I feel like it'll be a good year next year. What do you feel? Do you feel like it's going to be a great year later on this year, or what are you like hoping to expect for the fall semester?
I expect for it to be a great year. I'm always trying to be optimistic and positive in terms of my expectations for the upcoming academic year.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm hoping that it's going to be a good year. I think we have some good people in place that are able to really take things to the next level with their respective organizations, so on and so forth.
Okay. I like that. I really like that. And I was also gonna say, so like any ideas, like what do you like hope like the question I want to ask you is that I know right now you have a lot going on, but like, what's like a mindset you want these students to have, especially if it's their first year? Well, yeah, first year, like they complete their first year. You got new students coming in. You got their main students like going their sophomore, junior years to senior years. Like, what mindset you can give to these students that just know that need to hear some motivation?
I think step out on faith. I mean, do things that you've never done before. For the freshmen that are coming in, get out of the room. Go to an organization meeting. Go to an event on campus. A quick example. I went to event at the U of I, and at this event at the U of I was so surprised at how many students actually attended the event.
Mhm.
And I thought
Think,
about events that are at Eastern Illinois University. And I was like, Eastern Illinois could never. You
okay,
have to.
can you like name some examples? Cause I think I saw the talent show and it was packed like a concert. But like, what other like activities you saw that you feel like Easter could implement on here on campus?
I mean, the students just got to get creative in what they are offering as far as what kind of activities they're doing on campus. So the
Hmm.
Strong's Got Talent. I know we have talented students on campus. There's no reason why they shouldn't have at least 10 to 12 acts that are willing to take part in the act, especially if they're giving out prizes the way they gave out prizes this year. Um, some things like I told the new president for Strong, Twan, I told him, I said, y'all need to do maybe an open mic night in the fall. Just do an open mic night where people can just get up and they can sing, they can rap, spoken word, play an instrument, whatever, and just see how it goes or whatnot. And you could even mix that up with like a karaoke night. You know what I'm saying?
I was
Um,
thinking about that.
so there's different things that you can do socially on campus. But the thing is too, is that the students have to get out of the room and actually want to do something on campus. Because I find that a lot of the students, specifically at Eastern, but it's also just regional PWIs, I see a lot of the students that will just not get involved or just stay in their room or go to a friend's apartment where it's just them in the apartment. I'm just like, okay, that's not fun.
It's
I
not.
remember going out when I was in college and we was outside. If it was if it was an event, we was there. But just getting out of the room and getting involved and doing things because the whole point of it, again, going back to the notion of your college years is your dressing room for the real world. It's your time to actually try different things that you've never tried before in a safe
Yes.
environment with low risk and trying something different, you know, versus sitting in a room and playing the game.
It gets boring. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a gamer. And even I get bored playing the game all the time. I'm like, nah,
Mhm.
I gotta get up out of my room. People be saying to her, you be knowing everybody. I be saying, I know everybody because I be getting out of my room, be going different RSOs. That's how you gotta get your name out there or something, or just socialize. Meet more
Yeah. And
people that
so,
way.
and that goes back to me saying I'm glad I grew up in an era and I went to college in the era that I was in because yeah, when I was in college, we had cell phones, and we had, the internet and social media and stuff like that, but it wasn't to the point of where we have it now, where people feel like they don't have to socialize in person because they socialize through an app, through like Instagram or Snapchat or whatever. But to me, you can only look at Snapchat and Instagram so much without
Yeah,
having, and that has to me, that has led to a barrier in terms of communication where some students don't even know how to communicate in person with somebody, um, or go into a room with people they don't know and be able to strike up a conversation with somebody they don't know, unfortunately.
yeah. Like I said, I guess I am fortunate because I even know I'm a early 2000s kid. I mean, I was still like a kid. At least we was also outside too. My mom, whenever she was at work, always said when that street light come out, you go back in the house and stuff. And
Hmm.
yeah, we was outside too. I ain't gonna lie. Early 2010s was pretty fun. But nah, I get that, and I'm like, I feel like what students can do, like I said, not even just get involved, but like, keep going to more activities. Because the more activities you go, the more social you are. I'll kind of like help break the ice a little bit off you
Hmm.
and any other person that's like feeling nervous.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that.
And just take
But
advantage of the stuff that's on campus. I mean, you
it's
have like
small, but
so many different things on campus to help you be academically successful, but you have so many students that will suffer in silence. And you ask them, well, how you doing with your grades in classes? Oh, I'm good. And then when you see their grades at the end of the semester, it's like a
mm,
0.4. And
oh
it's
my
like, okay,
gosh,
apparently you weren't good all semester. Why didn't you use
what
a
you
lot of
doing?
the services? It's no need for the writing center on campus to have zero people in the writing center, or the ASC to have like one person in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Nah, like I said, I feel like this got to do more promotion. Just I feel like the school, what they got to teach, all schools, just just in practice face to face more. I think that will help a little bit, but we'll see as the time go on. But questions I want to get to. I know you said you had more. You said you had like some concerns about like stuff that was going on this academic year with like as far as like programs and stuff. Like you want to just list that out, like what's been going on, or like
Well,
as
I
far as
mean,
like
it's just
yeah,
everything was everything really stemmed from this past election and this that dear colleague letter. And not being able to do certain things because of the dear colleague letter. Now that it's it was, deemed unconstitutional, and now we can actually do, various programs again. It's just like, okay, well, we got to just get the ball back going and rolling again. And but the good thing is that our students were able to still hold programs and things of that nature. And so we should still be able to just keep the momentum going forward for our student population on campus.
Okay, okay. Like I said, we're gonna. I feel like next year is gonna be great, and like I said, I can't wait to see how next year goes. I'm excited, and the future's looking bright. But okay, and I was gonna say, so like I said, you said like I think you kind of. I was gonna ask like what advice you can give to students that don't feel like they don't belong here. Like you said, just get involved. But um, yeah, I was gonna say like, what kind of impact you hope to leave here at EIU? Like, we want your legacy to be? We want Mr. Blue's legacy to be on
Well,
at EIU.
I always say I want to leave every environment that I've entered. I want to leave it better than I found it when I came.
I like
Um,
that.
you know, I think I've already started some things that will have some longevity in terms of like our the Village project on campus. I replicated that program from the U of I. Um, Dr. Sharva Hampton Campbell started that program over 10 years ago at University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. And that program provides holistic wraparound programs and services for currently enrolled students who are currently enrolled at Eastern Illinois University. Then having the summer immersion program, which is something that I created going into its second year, where we are exposing youth who have foster care experience, grades 10 through 12, to a live on immersive weekend experience on campus during the summer to expose them to the possibilities of attending college and universities. We had a program yesterday
Mm. Oh
for
yeah.
the students with from a program, a nonprofit that's in Urbana, where 60% of those students in that program are in the foster care system.
Oh,
And the other 40% are from low socioeconomic status backgrounds, so full Pell eligible students, and all of them would be considered first generation college students.
oh wow. I think I might have seen them yesterday as well.
Hmm.
It's pretty yeah, pretty cool. That's what I want to do too. Like I love giving back, especially to new people on campus. Like, cause when I was a freshman, I didn't really have that many people I could like talk to, so I had to kind of navigate on that on my own. And it's
Hmm.
always good, like when you get like in a certain like year at school, like say junior, or senior, like seeing these freshmen come in, like not knowing what to do. It's like giving them that some tips and advice. I like that. So yeah, makes me feel good. So just hopefully they can run with it. But and I was gonna say, like, where do you see EIU in the next 5 to 10 years when it comes to student engagement? Like, what do you see? I know it's hard to see the future, but
Yeah, I think if in 5 to 10 years, I see, excuse me, the increase in Greek life, I think,
okay.
because I think we're getting to a point where now people are really taking recruitment seriously as far as Greek life is concerned.
Yes.
Because I always tell people the days and times of people just simply coming to you as a member of a Greek organization are over. You have to recruit. This is not 1985. And with our student
Yes.
population being over 50% first generation college students, as well as over 50% of that being first in the family to go, they don't know anything about Greek life. So you have to
Yeah.
go out and actually tell people what are the benefits of them joining this organization. What will you get out of joining this organization? And so I see Greek life actually, growing at Eastern. Um, I see student organizations. Hopefully, it's my hope that the student organizations um, continue to have great leadership. Like BSU has had phenomenal leadership since I've been at EIU, and I'm praying that that trajectory still keeps going up, 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 up. and
Yes.
seeing men of X, seeing strong actually increase um, engagement,
Hmm.
increase seeing an increase in commitment from students who want to be involved. Um, and so in the male initiatives I worked with down south, I did not have a problem with students actually again sticking by their words and coming to meetings on time, going to study tables, doing events and coming to events and doing community service. And so I'm hoping that we are going in the right direction with the organization specifically, just because I know how impactful male initiatives can be.
Yes.
You know personally how we have various conversations that sometimes young men are just not having. You know what I'm saying? With their friends, talking about consent, talking about some professional development things and issues
Mm.
and how to improve as a man overall. So I see strong going in the right direction. I think we just need to have more of a commitment. Um, Part of me wants to go and probably instill a application interview process in the near future.
I would
Um,
not be bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I think the young men need to take it seriously, and I think they need to be committed in joining the organization.
Yeah.
And that's how it was when I was at Mississippi State. It was a application interview based. Everybody did not get in. If you could not articulate why you wanted to be a part of the organization, how you want to grow while you're at the institution, um, then 9 times out of 10, you probably don't, this may not be for you. Maybe
Yeah.
not. I don't know. Um, and so, but I see it going in the right direction. I just think we just need some consistency.
Well, I mean, like I said, that's not a bad idea. So I'm like some good all ideas about that. So, and I was gonna say now, kind of go back to the young man part, if you're getting down to the final questions of this podcast. Like, what's some advice you can give to these, well, us as young men, in this day and age where they gotta feel like they gotta fit in or wear certain type of clothes or just I don't know, advice that for men can give that doesn't really have that father figure in their life or anything.
I just think you just got to be a man of your word. If you say you're going to do something, do it. It's as
Yeah,
simple as that. Um, if you know you are in a leadership position, function in that leadership position and show up as the leader that you want to be or as the
yeah,
leader that you know you are. Um, don't take a leadership position, and this is for men and women. Don't take a leadership position if you just taking it just to have something on your resume to say that you were XYZ within this organization. If you don't plan on doing any impactful work.
yeah,
I think about this when I think about Alpha. You want to join the organization, but you don't want to do any work. We don't need any more t-shirt wearers. Come in and do the work and help the organization flourish. Um, so, you know, also you don't have to fit in and understanding that you don't have to fit in. You need to be the best version of yourself and be authentically who you are at the end of the day. Because I've never been one to just go to try to fit in with other individuals. And I think that's because of how I was raised. Um, I've just been one that I walk to my own the beat of my own drum, and
yeah.
I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I'm just trying to be the best version of John that I can be. Um, and so, step out on faith. Do something that you've never done before. That's going to help you, right?
Yes,
Also, when you see that you are struggling, opening your mouth and asking for assistance, or where do I go to get assistance for whatever it is you're struggling with? Do not suffer in silence. That's the worst thing.
it
And a
is.
lot of guys, especially young men, they have this pride thing, and I'm just like, okay, pride is gonna have you. academically
Right.
dismissed.
Yeah.
Pride will have you depressed and feeling all alone. Pride will have you around here, acting like somebody else just to fit in. You know, pride will make you will sometimes have people make the wrong decision that can affect the rest of their life.
Yes.
So you should have pride in yourself, but you should not be prideful. And and be who you are. Be yourself. Be authentically you, genuinely you. I see through fake people all the time. When I meet people, I'm like, okay, that's definitely an act. Okay.
Yeah.
People try to put on this whole facade and put on this mask and try to walk through life. And I'm just like, yeah, because I'm a people watcher. I really observe a lot of people. I'll go into a situation in a room and sometimes I'll just sit back and I just will watch. I'm a people watcher and I'm watching how people are navigating the space. And that a lot of times when you see people navigating the space, you can tell a lot about people if you just sit back and observe. And you don't even have to ask a lot of questions to a person. A person, if you let a person talk, they'll go ahead and you'll find out what kind of person they are through conversation.
Exactly. Now I like that mantra. I like that lesson. I feel like that's something I'm gonna steal because yeah, just gotta be authentic self and if people ain't gonna rock with you, they ain't gonna rock with you. But
Yeah,
as long as you love yourself, hey, I love myself. I'm
exactly.
done. I feel accomplished. So,
Right.
but no, I was gonna say so. I guess a closing remark right now is what quote or mindset do you live by, and what are some advice you can give to students, not just college, but just in life, just about just being motivated and just following their passions?
Hmm.
A good quote you can live by.
Well, hmm, what do I live by? A quote that I live by. Um, for me, I can only be me, and I'm gonna be the best me that I can be. And I know that I'm not perfect, but I'm working towards not perfection, but progress on a day-to-day basis. And it's always that perfection, it's not always that progress over perfection. Because nobody will ever reach perfection, but you can
Mhm.
actually progress through life, progress your skills, progress your knowledge as you move through this journey of life. Um, just my advice is just, again, reiterating, just be a person being themselves, not being somebody else or not trying to be somebody else. You know,
Yes.
be the first. I don't forgot what the whole little saying is. It's like be a first class version of yourself versus the second class version of somebody else to trying to
Oh yeah.
replicate somebody else's persona.
No, man. No, what you gotta do, yeah. Can't you gotta have good by your own persona. You
Yeah,
gotta have to. You have to. I'm sorry. But
yeah.
other than that, I mean, I feel like that's all, So once again, thank you, Mr. John Blue, for being a part of this podcast. Episode 20 mark. I'm happy, just trying to grow this podcast every day. If you have any faculty or any friends or people you want to have talk to me, send them my way. I love to talk. So
Okay.
just trying to grow it out. But other than that, y'all, we reached the end of this podcast. So it's gonna be out on YouTube once I get all this from Mr. Blue. But I hope you all stay safe, finish strong. Graduation coming up last week of school here for us at EIU. And most importantly, y'all, just enjoy y'all summer. So y'all have a great day, and I will catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a blessed one.